Hey there, it's James Taylor here, keynote speaker on creativity, innovation, and future trends. Today, I'm in Brussels, in Belgium. I'm here speaking at Euroclear's conference. It's called Collateral, and they brought together about 700 of the top collateral managers around the world, people from collateral management, bankers. We have people from central banks here as well, financial services. And I'm going to be giving my SuperCreativity keynote, this idea of how we can augment our human curiosity with exponential technologies like AI and robotics. Now, in this case, with this particular audience, I'm the closing keynote speaker. So there's a number of interesting things that you have to do as a closing keynote speaker that you don't really have to do as an opening keynote speaker. See, an opening keynote speaker, if I'm doing the opening, is very much about providing that big idea, that big thing that's going to carry across the rest of the days of the conference. A closing keynote speaker, even on day one of maybe a multi-day conference, what you're also trying to do is you're trying to listen to the conversations that are going around at the conference and trying to kind of weave those in and also leave people on a high. So it can actually be almost a little bit more motivational sometimes because you want to leave them coming out on that high, give them some actionable things that they can do in their lives, with their team, in their businesses. So a couple of examples I'm going to be talking about today. I'm talking a lot about ChatGPT because it has kind of generative AI tools have a big impact here on finance. But more specifically, I'm talking about things like augmented coding. This is how coders, software engineers who work at banks, financial institutions, are having to work with code that was written 10, 20, 30 years ago, what we call legacy code, and how they can use generative AI to be able to help them do it better and be able to kind of figure out what that code is. And so some of these tools now are writing 40% of the code that a coder is actually producing. But really what I'm talking about at this event is collaboration. Human plus machine collaboration, what we call super creativity, and how it's going to affect everyone's jobs in different ways. Hey, James here again. As you probably noticed, I'm not in Brussels, in Belgium just now, as I'm filming this to close out the little video from me speaking at Euroclear conference, the Collateral conference. I'm actually here in Andalusia, near Malaga, in Spain, because after I came off stage, I met with some of the audience members, some of the sponsors, and then I ended up straight and came down here to Spain because I've had some meetings here about some upcoming events, and then tomorrow I actually head on to Munich to speak in Germany. But something that was really funny that was said to me as I was meeting a few people yesterday after I came off speaking, and it was a wonderful event. There was about 700 attendees in the audience. They were from the big investment banks in the world, a lot of the central banks around the world as well. And one person came up to me and said, James, there was a really funny point early in your speech when I overheard one of my colleagues who was sitting next to me turn to another colleague as I showed something that will dramatically change their industry and the work that they do. And this was related to using generative AI in the work that they do in investment banking. And this person turned around to his colleague and said, "We're screwed." Actually, he used more colorful language than that, but this is a family show, so I'm not gonna share that with you. But and then as the speech went on, and things kind of changed a little bit because I kind of showed some more hopeful ways that we can use these technologies. And actually at the end, there was actually a very strong feeling like, this is great, this is exciting, this is ways that we can augment the work that we do. In this case, augmenting the work of people in finance, but we can use them in lots of other areas besides. So I think my key message from speaking yesterday at the Euroclear conference in Brussels was one of optimism, was one of these are new collaborators, super smart collaborators, sometimes lacking a little bit of street smarts, which is where we come into it as the humans sometimes as well. But I think we have to look at these things optimistically. Now, that's not to say that we shouldn't be concerned about some of the ethical challenges of this, and there are many, and we shouldn't shy away from that. But I think ultimately, in the balance of things, I think these are going to be pretty amazing technologies for our civilization. So today, as you can see, I'm here in a very kind of rainy Spain. Spain needs quite a bit of rain just now. It's had a very dry few months, so this is really good here. Tomorrow I head on to Munich to speak to one of the big pharmaceutical companies, and then the day after I head on to Milano in Italy to speak to a big insurance company, and then I head on to there to go and speak in Bogota in Colombia for a technology company, or actually lots of technology companies. So follow me along, but if you are interested in having me come and speak at your conference, on the topic of super creativity and the use of AI to augment what we can do, whatever that job is, whatever your industry is, then go to my website at jamestaylor.me. Lots more information there beside. But follow me along. See you in the next video.